This is the story of Ifunanya, a woman whose only crime was loving her husband too deeply and even worse was trusting her mother-in-law, whose smile hid pure wickedness. Ifunanya and her husband Sochi lived in Enugu. They were both working-class people, humble, kind, and deeply in love with each other. Sochi was a very intentional husband. He was every woman's dream man. He used to help Ifunanya with chores like washing plates, cooking noodles, boiling hot water for rice, since he didn't know how to cook. Sometimes, he even massaged Ifunanya's feet after a long day at work. Their laughter was so loud and genuine, it filled the entire house. The neighbors always teased them, saying, "Una go use love kill person for this compound one day." But behind all the smiles, one prayer remained unanswered, a child of their own. It had been 10 years of marriage, 10 solid years of hope, 10 unfortunate years of miscarriages. Each time Ifunanya conceived, she would barely reach the 3rd month before her womb would betray her again. And every time, she would sit in the hospital bed, clutching her belly, whispering through tears, "God, what did I do wrong?" But her mother-in-law, Mama Sochi, was a church woman. She was the head of the Women's Fellowship, the president of the CWO Church Society. She never missed any church activity or meetings for anything in the world, not even when she had a serious fever or headache. She would say to herself, "I will go to the Lord's house. He will heal all my sickness and I will be well." She always quoted Psalms. During church prayers, she would sit in the front seat and shout amen louder than any other church member. Everyone witnessed how dedicated she was to her religious duties. But deep down, unknown to everyone except maybe her own children, she despised her daughter-in-law Ifunanya. To her, Ifunanya was the thief that stole her son from his one true love, Adugo. In her eyes, Adugo, Sochi's ex, was the perfect woman. She was light-skinned. Her skin was so smooth and spotless like a newborn. She had the figure-8 shape that could drive any man crazy. And to top it all, she was from a very wealthy and influential family. And Ifunanya, she was just a school teacher from a poor background with no womb to show for 10 years of marriage. Every time Mama Sochi visited their house, Ifunanya would feel pain. Each visit carried its own type of pain. "My son, this your wife, eh? Are you sure she is a woman? Abi, is she a stone?" "Mama, please," Sochi would plead. "No, tell me, how can a woman not give birth for 10 complete years of marriage and still sleep comfortably? Are you sure she even has a womb inside her belly?" And when Ifunanya tried to defend herself, Mama would hiss, "Let me tell you something. I don't know the place you went to tie my son. You better pray your charm wears off because my son must marry again." Sochi would always walk away quietly. He loved his mother, but he loved his wife more. 10 years ago, one cold Friday night, Mama Sochi traveled to her village, Olu. That day, she wore a white wrapper and carried a calabash covered with a thin red cloth. That night, she met with Ogene, the Babalawo, known across the whole village for tying wombs and untying destinies. "Baba," she whispered, "good evening. I suppose you know why I am here." She paused, then continued, "It's about that Ifunanya girl. I want her to never give birth in this life, not for my son." Ogene took a white egg, whispered incantations, and dropped it into a black pot. A tiny flame rose into the air, and a faint sound of crying filled the small hut. "It is done," he said. "As long as this pot remains sealed, her womb will know sorrow." Mama smiled. "Good. Let her cry the same tears I cried when my son left Adugo for her. Thank you very much, Baba." 3 months after her visit to Baba Ogene, Ifunanya got pregnant. Hope filled the house. They knelt down and prayed every night. Ifunanya bought expensive baby clothes. She even painted the nursery with butterflies and ribbons. Even Mama Sochi pretended to be happy when she called over the phone. Ehen, at last my grandson is coming. Take plenty fruits oh my daughter, especially pawpaw. I want my grandson to glow like Oyibo. They would all laugh, but strangely on the 7th week, Ifunanya noticed a light spotting on her underwear. She thought it was just normal for a woman who was pregnant. She didn't bother Sochi, after all she was feeling strong. But later that night, Ifunanya started bleeding. It was late at night, past 11 p.m. She screamed, "Sochi! Blood! Blood! I am bleeding!" He rushed her to the hospital. The doctor came out an hour later. His face was heavy. "Mr. Sochi, I am so sorry. We lost the baby." Sochi held his wife as she wept uncontrollably. When they returned home, Mama arrived unannounced. She didn't say a word. She didn't say sorry or console Ifunanya. All she muttered was some women were never meant to carry life. That night, Ifunanya cried till she lost her voice. Days turned into weeks turned into months, and months to years. Each time Ifunanya conceived, she would be happy and scared too. And as usual, on the 3rd month, she would miscarry the child again. It all seemed like a pattern. Every time she lost another pregnancy, Sochi would be heartbroken, but he would gather his courage and console his wife, assuring her that in God's own time, they would hold their own baby in their arms. On the other side, Mama Sochi's insults never stopped. She never lost an opportunity to remind Ifunanya of her unfortunate reality. One fateful afternoon, Sochi came home from work to see Adugo in their living room, smiling, wearing a short-tied dress and a red lipstick. Ifunanya came in after him. She was lost for words. "Who brought you to my home?" she asked, trembling. "Your mother," Adugo said calmly. "She said she needs someone to help you cook and clean since you are always sick." Mama Sochi walked in, holding her handbag. "Yes, my daughter. She will stay with us for a while. After all, she's like family." Ifunanya was speechless. Sochi was furious. He said, "Mama, this is not right." "Keep quiet," Mama snapped. "You are too blind to see what is good for you." That night, tension filled the house like thick smoke. Every sound, every glance was war. Adugo walked around freely. She was wearing Sochi's old t-shirts, cooking, laughing loudly, dropping small comments. She and Mama stayed in the living room, gossiping and laughing like hyenas. When Ifunanya passed the living room on her way to get a cup of water from the kitchen, their voices would suddenly go quiet. Adugo would mutter words directed to Ifunanya. She intentionally called her Auntie Barren. It didn't take long before fights became daily. Adugo would accidentally spill soup on the kitchen floor or hide Ifunanya's car keys. Then she would pretend to help her search for it. "Ah, sorry yo, Auntie Barren. I didn't know you were in a hurry." Ifunanya would clench her fist in annoyance, tears gathering behind her eyes, but she didn't retaliate. She endured every insult that came her way. One day, Ifunanya woke up early and washed her dirty laundry, including some of Sochi's wares. She spread them under the sun and left for work, hoping to return home and take the clothes inside after they must have been dried by the scorching heat of the sun. Adugo decided to wash all her dirty clothes that same day. She washed 3 whole buckets of clothes. Then, when it was time to hang them on the line, she muttered, "Why should a barren woman take up this much space to hang her dirty clothes when a hot babe like me am stranded?" She hurried into the house and reported to Mama that Ifunanya had intentionally used up all the space to hang her dirty clothes, whereas she had no space to hang her own clothes. Mama Sochi immediately barged to where the clothesline was. She dragged Ifunanya's clothes, which were still damp, and flung them into a stainless bowl on the floor. "Until she gives me a grandchild, she has no right to make others in this house uncomfortable," she hissed. When Ifunanya got home that night, she saw how her clothes were in the basin and how Adugo's clothes hung majestically on the line like she was the landlady of the entire building. Ifunanya only sighed. She took her clothes and hung them on the small zinc house at the backyard. She didn't retaliate, just for peace to reign. One afternoon, she found Adugo in the kitchen, wearing her apron, cooking Sochi's favorite meal. What are you doing in my kitchen? Our kitchen, Adugo smiled. Your husband said he likes his egusi soup thick. Let me help you keep him happy. Before Ifunanya could stop herself, she slapped Adugo hard. The pot fell. All the soup poured on the tiles. Adugo screamed loudly. Mama Sochi ran in shouting, Jesus, she has started attacking innocent people. Oh, Adugo, my daughter, sorry. Come, let me put cold eyes on your face. Sochi came home that night to chaos. Adugo was still pretending to cry. Mama was still shouting. Ifunanya was sitting on the floor, head bent and shaky. You slapped her, he asked quietly. She insulted me, Sochi. She called me a barren woman. Enough, Mama barked. Is that not what you are? Are you not a barren woman? Sochi's eyes turned red. He pointed at his mother. Mama, if you can't respect my wife, please leave my house. There was thick silence. Mama gasped. Sochi, you told me to leave your house for this woman. She packed her bag and stormed out that night, swearing, You will regret this, my son, I swear. I will not rest until this woman lives your life. Adugo also packed her things and left with Mama. Since Mama would not stay in the house anymore, she saw no reason staying there too. That very night, far away in Olu, the pot in Ogene's shrine cracked by itself. Thick smoke rose. A strong wind blew. Ogene called Mama the next morning. Woman, the spirit is angry. Your son has offended you. The charm might backfire soon. Mama ignored him. Let it backfire on her head, not mine. She hung up angrily. But 3 days later, Mama woke up paralyzed from the waist down. Her voice was gone. Her eyes were wide open. Watching herself rot from inside. Neighbors who noticed she wasn't well rushed her to the hospital. The doctors couldn't find a perfect diagnosis despite all the tests. We can't find what is wrong with her. Sochi wept beside her bed, not knowing his mother's pain was the price of her wickedness. One night, Mama struggled to speak. She asked Sochi to call Ifunanya. When Ifunanya came, the old woman started crying. She gestured for a paper and wrote slowly, I tied your womb 10 years ago. Forgive me. Please forgive me. Ifunanya could not believe what she read. The paper dropped from her hands. She was trembling. Tears fell like rain from her eyes. She dropped to her knees and held Mama's weak hand. Why, Mama? What did I ever do to you? The old woman could not answer. She only wept. Sochi read the paper and broke down completely. He walked out of the hospital in shock, unable to speak. 2 months later, Mama died peacefully. After begging both of them for forgiveness, they buried her quietly in the village. After the burial, Ifunanya and Sochi decided to go to church every morning to pray. They forgave her, truly. And one Sunday morning, during worship, the pastor called out, There is a woman here whose womb was locked for years, but I prophesy now that that chain is broken this morning. Ifunanya fell under the power of prayer, crying uncontrollably. That same month, she conceived. 9 successful months later, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy, healthy, beautiful. They named him Mmachuku, which means the beauty of God's mercy. In the end, the womb that was tied by jealousy was untied by forgiveness, and the woman who was mocked for years became a living testimony. Sometimes, God waits until everyone laughs at you before he writes the final chapter of your story. Thank you for watching. This is African Folktales by Vivy, and I hope you enjoyed this story. Kindly share your thoughts about this story with me in the comments. I would love to hear from you, bestie. What lesson did you grab? Kindly share this powerful tale with your friends and family. Please give this story a like, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel by now, please do so immediately. Much love from Vivy to you. Until you hear from me again, bye-bye. Bye.